Hi people, it's me Anja. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a newly released video. Before we get into these books, please don't forget to continue to be donating to Palestine because we must work together to free Palestine until Palestine is freed, not just when the media takes the spotlight off of it. So yeah, please continue to be donating to Palestine. So yeah. Anyway, the first book on this list is called An Emotion of Great Delight. This book is YA contemporary and follows a young girl in the wake of 9/11, and it's set in 2003. Frankly, this book was one of my most anticipated books of 2021, and this book was a huge disappointment. Like, I love Tahereh Mafi's writing. Like, her writing is so eloquent, and it's so, like, pretty and everything. However, I didn't really love this book very much because, first of all, the timeline was so confusing, and sometimes I wasn't sure when I was reading, if that makes any sense, which didn't help my intrigue of the plot. And I wasn't really emotionally connected to the characters, and I felt like the author kept introducing all these like new relationships, but she never gave them any closure, and the ending of the story felt very anticlimactic and not really like closed. You know what I mean? Like, the story had no closure at all. Sometimes I understand the need for an open ending, but this ending was way too open. You know what I mean? So essentially, I didn't love this book as much as I was expecting to, which was really disappointing because, like I said, this book was one of my most anticipating books of 2021 since A Very Large Expanse of Sea was so good and was so absolutely so incredible, and this book just wasn't it. So with that, I ended up rating this book 3 stars, unfortunately, but I'm not writing off Tahereh Mafi forever since, like I said, I really enjoyed A Very Large Expanse of Sea and Furthermore. So yeah, with that said, this book ultimately disappointed me, unfortunately, and I rated it 3 stars. The next book on this list was also a disappointment, but not as big of a disappointment for me personally, and it is Ace of Spades. This book is a YA contemporary thriller and follows 2 black queer teenagers who are at the same school and must team together to figure out who the Aces is. And what the Aces is that the Aces have been sending them both anonymous texts that have been revealing secrets about the other person, or just about like other students in general that they don't want to find out about. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense, but essentially I liked this book, but I didn't absolutely love it. I liked the topics that the author talked about because she really dove into institutionalized racism and eugenics, which I think are very important and super timely. But however, with that said, I wasn't really emotionally connected to these characters, so like I didn't care about things such as the romance or anything like that, but the plot was intriguing and her writing is very good. I just didn't absolutely love this book the way that I was really expecting to, and I was frankly only really expecting to really love this book because this is a book that everybody has talked about on the booktornet. You know what I mean? So with that, again, I rated this book 3 stars, but I definitely understand why everybody else loves it. It's just not my personal cup of tea, although typically I'm not the biggest fan of thrillers in general. So yeah, there's that. I rated this book 3 stars. So yeah. The next book on this list is called the Half-Orphan's Handbook. This book is YA contemporary and it's absolutely so good. It follows Lila, who gets sent to this camp for grieving kids and teenagers after her dad commits suicide. Actually, it's set 3 months after her dad dies. But anyway, this book is so good. First of all, the camp setting was so wholesome and it was so well written and it was so well done, and I could easily visualize the setting as well as all of the characters. Speaking of, Lila was such a wonderful, well-developed character, and I was so emotionally attached to her. I found myself caring for her from the very beginning of the story to the end, and the plot was so intriguing, and the romance was so cute, and it was so fluffy, but it was also so angsty as well. You know what I mean? Because like they both met at this camp, so they were both grieving in their own ways. So I enjoyed their dynamic together, but also individually. Like literally, this book is so good. It kind of reminded me of like The Year After You, as well as Amelia Unabridged. So if you read those two books, I would also recommend this book. But even if you haven't, this book is literally so good. I ended up rating this book 4 stars because I really enjoyed it. So with that, I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Sing Me Forgotten. This book is YA fantasy and it follows a young girl who can view people's memories when they sing, which is so cool. And she's never left her gilded cage because her father figure tells her that it's too dangerous for her to leave until she finds a way out after viewing somebody else's memory. So, this book is so good and it's so underrated, and for what? First of all, the world building is so cool. It is so cool and it's so fascinating and so immersive and so inventive. I'm so excited to read the author's next book, which I think comes out next year. And this book is also a fantasy standalone. We love to see it. This book is absolutely so good. The plot is so fast-paced and it's so intriguing. The main character is such a wonderful, well-developed, morally gray main character, and I love her. The romance is so lovely and it's so splendid and it's so well-developed. This book is so good and it's so underrated. This book absolutely deserves so much more hype because it's absolutely so good, and I really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it because I ended up rating it 4 stars. So clearly I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called The Ghost We Keep. This book is YA contemporary and it's written by the same author who wrote I Wish You All the Best, which I read last year and I also really enjoyed that book. So I definitely had high expectations before going into this book, but I would say that I preferred this book over I Wish You All the Best. So basically this book is YA contemporary, like I mentioned before, and it follows a young non-binary main character after his brother dies. So it talks about grief, and also the main character uses he, they pronouns in case you were wondering. But anyway, this book is literally so good. First of all, I love the way that Mason Deaver talked about grief in this story. It was absolutely so good and it's so well written. This book was so angsty, but it was so awesome to read about because it really just packed a punch. You know what I mean? Like, this book is so well done. The main character is such a wonderful, well-developed, distinct main character, and I love them. I was so emotionally attached to them every single step of the way, and I also liked how their gender identity was incorporated into the story, even though it wasn't the main piece of the story. You know what I mean? This book was so good. All of the characters are so well developed and so distinct. This book is definitely so good and it's so wonderful, and it definitely deserves all of its hype and so much more, because Mason Deaver's characters are so well developed and so distinct. This book is definitely more character driven than plot driven, but with that said, the plot was also intriguing as well. But Mason Deaver's characters are so wonderfully well developed. This book is literally so good, and I highly recommend it, and I ended up rating it 4 stars. So yeah, there you have it. So in conclusion, between the 3 books that I rated 4 stars, the Half-Orphan's Handbook, Sing Me Forgotten, and The Ghost We Keep, I honestly cannot pick a favorite. But between the 2 books that I rated 3 stars, An Emotion of Great Delight and Ace of Spades, I would definitely say that An Emotion of Great Delight disappointed me more than Ace of Spades, so that one is my least favorite of the bunch. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the swan emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching Donate to Palestine, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!